Hey y'all. Uh, I know I haven't been on here in, what is it, a month? Uh, but there was a lot going on. I have more updates. Yeah. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Summer, and, basically I create a ton of art and eventually we'll do maybe music and like theater-ish things, and I read a lot. I love music and stuff like that. I forgot how my intro. Anyway, um, the last update I pretty much summarized is I broke my arm, and yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned, sorry, I'm checking. I'm not sure if I mentioned or if I showed my arm in the video, but you can see it's in a sling. Yeah, okay, that's the splint. So, I have more updates. Okay, also, I'm so happy. I just got home from a choir concert and it was really fun because my choir is actually really, really small. It's only like 8 people, so compared to like the main school where we have to go to after school to practice for choir only every Monday. I don't know, it's a whole thing. Anyway, basically, choir concert went really well, had a lot of fun. Second, back to my arm, which is in a new color cast, okay? So, I say new color, it was in a splint last time. Basically, after I got the splint, I went 2 days later, so it was Tuesday, March 4th, and I went in for some x-rays and like to get a cast, right? So I went in and I was like, oh my goodness, this is great. My arm's doing just fine, right? Everything is totally staying in place. No, it's not. Things are not staying in place, okay? So, for those of you who don't know, I first off recommend watching my other video because I give more specific updates. I'm basically just gonna summarize. Broke my arm March 2nd. Both bones. Falling forward off my bike going down a hill by myself. Anyway, so both bones are still technically broken. And so March 4th went in to get splint off, get, whatever I needed. Got x-rays and then sat down in the room and the doctor came in. She was like, yeah, so one of your bones came out of place. Hold on. I can't remember if it was the ulna or radius. Let me check real quick. I'm gonna go. Okay. Because I know it was one of them, but I can't remember. Okay. It was my radius. My radius, the bottom part of it, so my bone on this side, the bottom piece came out and was tapping against my ulna. I'm probably gonna add a trigger warning if yeah. Also, I know I usually don't edit my videos pretty much, but honestly, I don't have anything better to do, so I might as well start just sort of like, yay, just on some YouTube videos and then just edit YouTube videos. Yeah. Um, so that's great. Yeah, so March 4th went in, did like, yeah, your arm's not doing too well. Your arm's not doing too hot, right? So they asked me, did you eat anything today? I was like, oh, I had like a tiny bite of something. Like it was like a bite of a Pop Tart, and then I was like, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. And she's like, oh, okay. So, because of that, we can't get you into surgery like right now. I was like, What? Surgery? Excuse me?" She's like, yeah. So, you're gonna have to go into the OR. We say surgery, but it's not actually. It wasn't actually surgery. They were just gonna reduce my arm for the second time in the OR where I was fully under anesthesia instead of just ketamine and morphine in the ER where I woke up like twice, technically. Yeah. So, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think. Yeah. So they told me like, yeah, we're gonna get you in at 2 p.m. because it was pretty early in the morning. It was like 7 a.m. I think 7 or 8 a.m. 7 or 8 a.m. Yeah. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna get you in at 2 p.m. Right? You're gonna come in at like noon. We're gonna get you checked in, and it's gonna be fine. And oh my god, it was so bad. So in my hand, okay, I went in, got checked in. They said we need to place an IV. I don't know if I've ever said it on my channel before, but I really hate needles. Okay, I cry when I get a flu shot and or like a COVID vaccine, right? So they're like, yeah, since 2 days ago you got the IV in the middle of your arm, in your elbow. We can't go there, right? So we're gonna have to go in your hand because we're doing surgery. I said it was like cutlass surgery. I don't know. That's what I called it. Um, they were saying like, so we can't do it in your left arm because you're getting surgery there, right? And I was like, well, obviously. So they were like, well, we have to do it in your right hand. I was like, okay, great. While I was awake, they took the IV and they tried to place it twice. But the worst part of that was not the fact that, they were just trying to place it. Part of that was the worst part was because they were worming around in the vein with the needle, trying to get it to not blow, but it blew twice. The vein, I mean, the vein blew twice. So, yeah. Then they're like, okay, since we can't place it, we're gonna get you some laughing gas. You're gonna go in there, we're gonna like gas you down, you're gonna go to sleep. You're not gonna remember at least, right? And I vividly remember just like laying there and I had my arm over here. She was unwrapping it and I could see all the cotton on my arm and it was very thick. It was like as thick as my leg. So it was it was pretty thick. And they were unwrapping it and funny story. So one of the nurses that was going to be taking care of me in the OR, right? She likes to like comfort patients and stuff like that. And because in the OR it's like really really bad if you see like a cockroach and a lot of people don't like cockroaches. She's like, hey, do you want to pick a little thing like a cockroach, a spider, a little snake, or like a little lizard that we can put in one of the wrap layers in your splint? Sorry, there's someone coming upstairs. Um, and scare the OR doctor. And I was like, yes. Oh my god, that'd be so much fun. And so I picked a little cockroach. I was like about this big. And we put it in one of the wraps in my splint. And then I went in there, and then she was unraveling it, and then the cockroach just fell out, and she jumped. And it was so funny. I can't. Yeah, but I was like, it was just sort of like fading to black, I guess. Okay, I'm trying to describe the laughing gas right here, okay? Not the cockroach. Oh my god. Anyway, so they had like the laughing gas thing on my nose and like, okay, just breathe deep, like 5 deep breaths. I breathed 5 deep breaths and I was like, I'm still awake, so I guess I'm just gonna like, you know. And it was so weird because I slowly like felt like I was losing sensation in my body, but like in a good way, if that makes any sense at all. If you had laughing gas like for surgery, I think you know what I'm talking about. But it was like I was like losing sensation, but I could still tell it was like tingly also. I don't know. Uh, and it was like almost, I guess, like I could say like I'm floating. Like it didn't really feel like I was touching anything or like I was moving. And like my vision was starting to go like black, I guess. I really don't know how to describe it. I'm sorry. I would describe it better, but I can't. Yeah. And then they did the OR thing, they did what they needed to, blah 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 blah. Right? And so when I woke up and they're like, yeah, you're good now. You're in a cast. And it was purple and it was so cool, okay? And I got all of my friends to sign it, and that was like the only cast I really wanted people to sign. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I woke up and I had a cast and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's much lighter. Like, wait, this is not the cast I had, okay? It is it's May 1st when I record this and probably when I post this. So like You know, March 4th, that's almost 2 months ago. So why are you still in a cast? We're gonna get there, okay? It's a long update, and I have more things than just my arm too. So yeah. Anyway, so I left off, yeah, and I kept the cockroach, but a couple days later, after I was able to start going back to school, I brought the cockroach with me. It set it on my lunch tray, and then accidentally threw it away. I miss the freaking cockroach. Okay, I miss it. I miss the freaking cockroach. It's okay. It's all right. It's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. You know. Anyway, so a couple weeks later, they kept checking on it. Everything was fine. The purple cast was really loose in the elbow. Like I could really shift my arm. Like I could start being able to sort of. I say sort of because I was in a cast, but like it was loose enough that I could sort of like stretch my elbow and like lift it up. If that makes any sense at all. I think if you've had a loose cast on your arm, you might understand what I'm talking about, but I don't know. Like it was here, and I could sort of like lift my elbow, and the cast would be a little bit like away. I don't. It was loose, okay, and the cotton was squished. Yeah. So after that, um, they're like, okay, we're gonna get you a new cast, so that way it's not loose and your bone can still heal properly. Foreshadowing, sorry. And so got a new cast. It was black, and it was cool. And I decorated it with. I can't speak today. I'm sorry. I sang a lot and now I can't speak. And then I decorated it with like a bunch of silver and gold stars and stuff like that. And I let a couple people sign it, but I didn't let as many people sign it because I was like, I don't want to. Like, why? Hello? You know. So I decorated it and I was like, this is good. This is nice. And had a couple people sign it and moved on. A couple weeks later, after another checkup and stuff like that on my arm, they took my cast off and then they sent me in for an x-ray. Got an x-ray, sat down, waited, and when was this? So hold on, I'm looking at the calendar real quick to figure out when this was. Okay, so Tuesday we have Monday, Friday, when that happened, Monday or Tuesday again. Yeah. Okay, so it was either the 14th or the 15th of April. Yeah, either the 14th or the 15th. I can't remember which one. They got the cast off and everything looked fine, sort of, you know. Okay, so um I would show photos, but some people are pretty squirmish and don't like that stuff. I sent a photo to my friends, and one of my friends apparently almost threw up immediately on his couch. So, I'm not gonna show him. But when I broke my arm, I was going downhill, tried to catch myself with my palm, probably only got the bottom half, both bones broke, like about here. Momentum carried me forward, arm bent upwards, about this angle, so it was up here. And then after I got my cast off, it was curved down here. The top half of the bone was 30 degrees off from where it was supposed to be. But when I actually broke my arm, it was bent the other way, but more than 30 degrees. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it was bent over 30 degrees. Yeah. And and when I touched in the middle of my arm where the break was, you could tell it was angled and you could feel like the top of the bone, like where the two bones like bent and like met like a little tent. I could touch in the middle of my arm and feel that spot easily. So, they're like, yeah, we're gonna get you out to a bigger hospital. Okay, so I'm in the Panhandle of Florida, and the bigger hospital closest to me was out in Pensacola. So we went out there. on Friday, the 18th, and I had an appointment, and they looked at all the x-rays that I had to get more x-rays. I've had a lot of x-rays, okay? I've had too many. Not too many, but yeah, I'm exaggerating, but whatever. Um, yeah, so it's the 18th, and they're like, yeah, you have to get surgery. We cut your arm open surgery, not you just go to sleep and we reduce your arm again surgery, okay? We're gonna put metal in your arm. I was like, no, okay, why? I saw my arm. I was like, yeah, I mean that makes sense, but and so yeah, um, and they talked to me and my mom, and they're like, yeah, so usually we do these surgeries on Friday, but it is a Friday, so we can't do this today. So since it's sort of an emergency-ish surgery, right? Because my bone is healing pretty fast. They're like, yeah, we need to get this done as soon as we can. It's not emergency, but it is sort of a tiny bit. Yeah. So they're like, we're gonna do this on Monday, the 21st. And went in at 11, which is when they told me to check in. Went in at 11, got checked in. They took us upstairs and did the whole shebang, right? And changed into the hospital gown or whatever, which I love. Well, I prefer the ones out in Pensacola because they're fabric instead of the ones out in my usual hospital where they were paper. Anyway, a little triggering for me. Yeah. Anyway, so I got changed and I was hanging out there and I watched a lot of TV. And okay, they were supposed to get me back at 1 p.m. That's before my school usually ends. My school usually gets out at 1:45. So, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, it's 1. They placed the IV, they had saline dripping through. I was in the hospital gown. I was laying in the bed on call with my friends, had a little TV going. My mom was sitting next to me on my left. This is my left. Because when I'm recording, I can see what I look like, right? Because I just record it on the editing website that I use, which is literally Clipchamp. So, it's probably going to flip to normal, but this is my left in case it doesn't. And my mom was sitting over there next to me. And so, I was just hanging out, I was calling my friends, I was chilling, and it hit 1 p.m. And I was like, oh, they should be able to take me back any moment. Over 2.5 hours later, at 3:40 p.m., they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna take it back now. I was like, oh, okay. Literally there was somebody else before me though, so I mean it makes sense, you know. Anyway, so yeah, they took me back into surgery, and then I woke up. Cause okay, surgery took an hour and a half, and I don't know how long I was out, but I woke up at like 5 p.m. ish. No, hold on. I'm trying to do the math real quick. That would be 4:40, 5:20. We're gonna say I woke up about 5:30. Yeah, because surgery an hour and a half. I'm assuming maybe about half an hour before I woke up or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how long I was out, but yeah. And I keep saying I don't know. I'm sorry. Anyway, so yeah, I woke up and my arm was hurting so freaking bad. Okay, so bad, so bad. It was it was such. I cannot even like describe the pain. So when I broke my arm, I was able to stop crying multiple times, right? Okay. Pain for when I broke my arm was only like a 5 or 6 on the pain scale. Sorry, my battery's starting to get a little low. Um, yeah, but it was only like a 5 or 6 on the pain scale versus when I had gotten out of surgery. So 21st, yeah, it was the 21st. Um, I was sitting there like my arm is like a 7, maybe at its absolute worst, an 8 right now. So, they gave me medical use fentanyl. They gave me 4 milligrams. Still in so much pain. They gave it to me through my IV. And then I was like, oh my god, my arm still hurts so bad. They're like, okay, we'll give you 23 milligrams. Still so much pain. Okay, 23 more milligrams, and we can't go any further. I'm like, it's fine. Yeah, right? My arm is still in so much pain. They give me some ibuprofen and a little bit of Tylenol, and they're like, yeah. And they kept talking to me like, oh, we can do a nerve block, we can do a nerve block. And I was like, that's a needle, right? And they're like, yeah. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to. But my arm was in so much pain, and we couldn't go get the prescription because we would have to get that after I would be checked out. So they convinced me. I was like, fine, you can do the nerve block. So they brought out the little ultrasound machine, and they went in my left shoulder. Do I still have the mark? Sorry, off topic. I think it's still there a tiny bit. Anyway, so they took the ultrasound machine. They were like in my shoulder, like about right here. Then they took a numbing needle. Ugh, they told me like this one's gonna numb it. I was like, okay, that's fine. I hate needles, but okay. And it hurt. And then, it was numb, and then they went in with another needle and started like worming or like another shot and like was like pretty much worming around my shoulder. If you had a nerve block and you've looked at the ultrasound while they're doing the nerve block and stayed calm and was able to stare at it. I don't know how you did it, okay? I don't. Props to you. You did great. I can't with needles, right? So, I was looking at the ultrasound as I was like, worming around my shoulder, and I was like, oh, even with the numbing, when I look at that and see the needle putting liquid near my nerve or something, I don't know how nerve blocks work. I'm sorry. I don't know, like, what it does, sort of, how they do the last part that, these ultrasound for in the second needle. I do know how they do it, but I'm just clarifying. Anyway, so, they were doing that and they like warmed around my arm, and I was like, oh my god, not like that. So, yeah, that was great. And, did the nerve block, arm still in pain. Pretty much ate some food and drank some water, arm still in pain. Then, like, okay, well, it's not in as much pain. It's like, I guess. Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, you gotta go now. I was like, okay, great. And I was back in a splint now, by the way. I was not in a cast. I was in a splint now. Um, and so I left the hospital and I was in so much pain. We had to go down to Walgreens, and then we went to the drive-thru and got the medicine. And oh my goodness, it was so bad. We pulled up, got the order through or whatever. And then she's like, okay, it's gonna be half an hour. So we come back 20 minutes later after lots of pain. And we're like, hey, so we have an order and we're here to see if it's like, able to pick up. You said like 20 minutes or something. And she's like, yeah, here you go. I immediately took one because they told us to do that anyway. So, I immediately took one, and then I was like, okay, my arm's feeling a tiny bit better. And then I fell asleep. And when I woke up again, I woke up a couple times throughout the car ride, but, I eventually made it home because it's like an hour drive to get to Pensacola. I think it's like an hour and a half-ish. I don't know. But yeah. So I just started the drive, fell asleep, woke up, fell asleep or something like that. I don't know. And the pain did start to leave, and that was good. So, I was doing fine after that. And I was on narcotics for, yeah, 3 days. And on the third day, I started to get off of them. And then on the fourth day, it was just consistently with Tylenol and ibuprofen. So that way I could go to school. So, yeah. And that was last week, and then it's Thursdays? Yeah, so 2 days ago, I went back to Pensacola and got an actual cast, and they said in like 3 to 4 weeks before I fly to Idaho at the end of May, which I might do a couple videos while I'm there, if I can sneak them, when I'm gonna be in the room that my grandparents have for me. I might be able to do a couple updates and stuff like that there. Take a ton of photos and very short videos. Might be able to send them to my laptop and then put them in my videos and show different things that I do. I would have to block out families' faces, maybe like AI voice over their voices or something, because I want their privacy to be respected and stuff. Also, because some of them are pretty young, so but uh yeah, I might be able to do a couple updates there. And the last few things that I wanted to say, moving to another state apparently in August because military. I'm not going to describe which one though or which base I'm going to be at because safety. Duh. Yeah. And my mom's boyfriend moved in, which means I have a cat now. I love it. His name is Cosmo. He's so cute. He's my favorite. But the bad piece with that, my dog had to be put down because he probably had cancer. Yeah, he had a ton of. So he was a Springer Spaniel, an English Springer Spaniel. Yeah, his name was Turtle because when he was a puppy, on his left side, on his back, he had three really big spots arranged in the pattern of a turtle shell. So the breeders named him Turtle, and Turtle. We kept it. We kept it. I got him when I was 4, and so he was 9 a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he was put down, but because he's being really, really aggressive, like food aggressive, not aggressive, aggressive, food aggressive. And only over food. Like he would get into the trash and in the sink and counter surf and table surf, and because spaniels are smaller dogs, right? Well, Springer Spaniels are bigger. They're more like medium-sized dogs versus how small the regular Spaniels are. So, Turtle was bigger, and also Turtle is even bigger than both of his parents, 2 inches at the shoulder. So Turtle was a bigger Springer Spaniel. So he would counter surf and table surf and trash surf and sink surf and all the things. So yeah, and he probably had cancer, so you know that also probably affected it. So we're like, okay, well, it's just gonna benefit everybody, for him, for us, and he was 9. Usually, Springer Spaniels can live up to like early teens, so I guess about my age, which I'm not disclosing. You didn't get to know. I'll probably let y'all know when I reach high school, but like, I'm not telling you how old I am right now. Ha! Yeah. Okay. But yeah, moving, dog, plus cat, arm things, hooray. Oh, and because my boyfriend moved in, I have a full size bed now. It's not just a twin size one, and I'm so happy. Otherwise, like the arrangements are still pretty much the same. Like, yeah, let me show you. Wow. And my little lava lamp, it's the rainbow one right there. Yeah. My best friend gave it to me, though she moved to a more southern part of Florida a couple weeks ago. She lived on my street too. It was awesome, but whatever. Okay. Anyways, it's getting a little late. I might do another video. I probably should. I want to do some art stuff, but I'm not sure how I would structure that, so we're gonna figure it out. It's okay. We're gonna figure it out. Figure something out. Um, but yeah, so I will see you guys in the next one. Wish me luck for future things on my arm because me and my mom did the math. It will take about probably up to about a year before my arm is fully pretty much normal. Because, they took flex nails and put them down the length of my bones, and I have 3 incisions. And they had to somehow they incision near my ulna, but took a chunk out of the middle of my radius. So I don't know. I don't know how they did that, but this video is pretty much 30 minutes long. Very sorry that it's longer. I will see you guys in the next one so I don't run out of time. Thank you so much for watching. I am Summer, and it is approaching the summer. Okay, love you all. I'll see you in the next one. I really hope you watch again. Thank you so much for sitting through this long ass video, okay? Bye!